Hey everybody, it's Josie. Welcome back to Cedar Creek Homestead. I hope you guys have had a wonderful, wonderful Christmas holiday. We did with our family. We went to Arkansas and visited some of them. We left on Thursday, I guess, and we come home on Sunday, and we were ready to come home. It's always good to get back to the farm. That's where my heart's at. That's where I really, really, really like to be. But it was good to see our loved ones and hug on their necks and laugh at the stories and have good memories and remember back and watch the joy on the faces of the kids as they got to open presents and all the excitement that they had. And my little niece, she's 5, and we played and made some videos with my camera, just me and her, making silly little videos. And one of them was she was making ice. Let's see, hot ice, I think she called it. Anyway, her little sister got a kitchen set, and so they were playing with that, and we had fun with that. We got back home. The weather was beautiful for us. No ice, no snow, no anything like that. The temperatures were beautiful. In fact, Christmas Day was in the 70s. And I know some of you got snow. My friend, Miss Sheridan, she got a lot of snow, and others didn't have such good weather. But we had really pretty weather. When we got home on Sunday afternoon or Sunday evening, really about 5 o'clock, Blade went through to let us in the house, and he got up on the back porch. And I have an upright freezer on the back porch, and I have a refrigerator with a top mount freezer. And sometime during probably Sunday, I would say, just because of the shape of the food, the wind got up. Papa Tex said that it was pretty windy. The wind got up and it blew the door off of my freezer, and that has happened once before. And the hinge at the top of the freezer is kind of messed up a little bit, and so we have to keep the freezer door locked. And evidently somebody, I don't know who, it could have been me, it could have been any of us, got in the freezer and forgot to lock it back, and it that wind, the way it hit it, with the hinge not holding as tight, caused that door to be able to fall off onto the floor of the porch, and a bunch of the stuff in the freezer fell out onto the freezer or to the porch floor and was ruined. All the stuff in the door, but the stuff that was towards the back, because my freezer was packed, it didn't thaw yet, so evidently it must have not been all that long. That since that had happened, maybe a few hours. The things that fell out were things like squash and okra and berries and cranberries, things like that. So the okra, I just went ahead and scrapped it because it wasn't last year's okra anyway. It was, or this last season's okra. It was the season before, 2020's okra. So I kind of felt like I just didn't think the quality would be as good because it was mostly thawed and it was getting to be a little bit older, so I went ahead and scrapped it. But I was thankful that it wasn't my freezer that had all the beef in it and the chicken and the pork. That got me to thinking about what a person would do if something like that happened. And that always backs up the idea that a lot of preppers and homesteaders teach about having backups to your backups, making sure that you have this, but you also have, in another location or another means to get that thing or to store that thing or to cook that thing. And don't put all your eggs in one basket, so to speak. But we recovered from that. We got that fixed pretty quickly, and got the mess cleaned up, and we're moving on from there. But I've just been catching up on chores. We had, we've had clothes to wash since we got back, and animals to tend to. I've already told y'all that I'm in the middle of calving season, so we got new calves being born all the time. And I don't remember if I shared this with you guys or not, but I did lose a calf. We had a cow go off by herself to have her little calf. We've been trying to bring the mamas that are like right now getting ready to deliver up here in this pasture but in between my house and Papa Tex's house, just to keep an extra eye on them. This particular cow got off before we caught that she was so close to delivery, and had her calf and there's these buzzards. I don't know, they were just really, really bad. And Cheyenne and I got out to we had to go to the post office and the bank just up here at town, and as we were leaving out, I happened to see a big flock of buzzards, and we drove down to the pasture, and the way she was acting, I thought she was just getting ready to have her calf. So we called Grandpa and Papa Tex, and he said, well, no, she'd already had it and it was dead. He isn't sure if the buzzards killed it or they had her so spooked that she actually stomped her baby. We're not really sure. But those kind of things happen on the homestead, and that's another reason why you want to have backups. You know, if she was having a calf and she would say, you know, we were just dependent on her as she's a beef cow, but if she'd have been a dairy cow, you know, and she'd lost that calf, you know, we would have had to have done something to get a calf, try to get a calf back on her. And also, you know, if that had been our beef for the year, you know, we just lost the beef. That hits in my pocketbook too, the loss, you know. I don't, I'm not really sure if it was a little steer or a little heifer, but regardless, you know, you're probably looking at, depending on what cattle prices are when they go to the sale, it fluctuates all the time. You know, you're probably looking at $700, $800, $900 if the prices are good and you got a good healthy animal. You know, so that was a hit. So we always need to think about what we're going to do if something happens. We can't live in fear, but we always have to be prepared that if this doesn't work out this way, what's another way that we can get around to make sure that we've got whatever it is, water supply, you know, food for our tables. You know, what would happen if there was a job loss? What would happen if this? We always have to be willing to change directions if we need to, and we always need to make sure that we've got a plan. So Christmas holiday is behind us. We have New Year's coming up at the end of this week, and we don't have any really big special plans because we don't you know, go out and have any big parties or anything like that, because we don't do that kind of stuff. We used to have church services on New Year's Eve, and it seems like in recent years, with our church folks getting older and you know, this virus taking hold and all those kind of things, that those kind of services have kind of been put on the back burner too. So we'll probably have a quiet evening. I think my niece might be coming over, and she has little children, so it won't necessarily be quiet, but it won't be like a raucous party or anything like that. But you know, I was thinking about New Year's resolutions and how many years, I'm 51, and how many years I have made New Year's resolutions, and have I kept them or have I not kept them. And so I looked up the definition for resolution. The resolution is a decision to do or not to do something. The quality of being determined to do or not to do something. Well, the first thing I think of every year when the New Year's rolls around, what's the first thing a lot of us do? I resolve to lose weight, or I resolve to eat right, or I resolve to, you know, whatever your vice is, quit smoking, quit drinking, whatever it is. So, but there's also other definitions for resolution. One of the definitions that I like is the act of solving a problem, finding a way to improve on a difficult situation. So I think we can all agree that if we listen to the news and we listen to those that claim to be smarter than us, they're telling us that, hey, things are not looking so good right now, and this is going on and this is going on. And I heard on the news this morning, you know, we've already talked about meat prices going up and dairy prices going up, and the cost of eggs and all of those things. Well, today I heard from a grocery chain person, I can't even remember the name of this supplier, but they were talking about different companies there, and it gave their particular names of General Mills and Heinz and Campbell's, and there were others that they listed, and all of those are going to go up in price. They're not saying they're not going to be on the shelf, but they are saying that they're increasing in price. And so, you know, that sounds like a difficult situation for some. And Cheyenne and I had talked today about wonder what people do that haven't made any preparation at all, how they're going to feed their family. Now, there may not anything happen this next year, natural disaster wise, or, you know, anything that we're expecting could happen. That kind of stuff may not happen. But if you haven't made any preparation, even for the inflation that's going up, how in the world can people expect to take care of their families and to make their ends meet? I want to be resolved to finding a way to improve on that difficult situation. That difficult situation is the cost of products. How can I improve on that? Well, what time of year is it? It's time for us to get the gardening seed catalogs out. They're starting to arrive in your mailbox. Get those things out, and don't put off ordering your supplies. Order your seeds. Order your ground covers. Order all of the things that you're going to need for your garden season. Think about the things that you want to grow: fruits and vegetables, herbs, flowers to bring in the pollinators, all the different things that you might need. Think about your canning supplies. Do you have enough canning jars? Do you have enough lids and rings? Now, I will say, while we were out and about shopping this weekend, that we were at several different stores, and they had canning jars, and they had rings, and they had lids. It wasn't like shelves and shelves full, but you know, a lot of people consider this off season, and they still did have some products. But I will tell you, the prices are not going down. Even in off season, they didn't have them marked in clearance. They had them regular price. And so, you know, maybe now's the time for you to start buying a case of jars and putting it back. A box of lids and rings. In fact, I had several family members, Cheyenne and my sister-in-law, both got me lids and rings for Christmas, and I was tickled to death to get them. So resolve in yourself to head off this difficult situation that we might be heading into by finding ways to make things work for your family. Have those supplies. Look at new ways of putting things up. Cheyenne got her first canning book, and she's going to be learning canning, and she's going to start helping me stock the shelves with different things that we're canning. She got some soap making books, and she's interested in making soap, and so she's gonna do that. We have projects here on our farm that we're working on, thinking about how to get the spring ready to go in case we need that, and we are trying to think of ways of, if you couldn't get hay or you couldn't get feed, or we're thinking about ways, or at least I'm thinking about ways with the chickens, if I had to grow fodder for the chickens, and how to make sure that I had feed corn and all the things that they need. How many chickens to set this next year, how many of their eggs to set in the incubator, what do we need to hatch out, what do we need to add to the farm, what do we need to take away that didn't work. All those kind of things are things that you can think about right now, and you can make a resolution for this next year for things to work in your favor, for a way to look well to the ways of your household, to meet that difficult situation head on, and to not let it get you down. A lot of times we make resolutions in this life and we feel like failure because, we go for a good, let's take diet for instance, and because a lot of us do that very thing and with a resolution. We're going pretty good there for a while. We're watching what we eat. We're getting up and we're walking and we're doing the exercising. And then something comes along and we think, oh, maybe I'll let it slide this time and I'll get back on track next week. And it just doesn't get us motivated to go again. But let's try our best to stay motivated and resolved this year to meet the problems head on, and try our best to find ways to overcome the difficult situations that we might be facing. encourage one another, remind one another, hey, it's time to get those plants started. It's time to do this. And, work together with our people that are around us, our family and our friends that have the same likes and the same motivations, and we can encourage and motivate one another. This is a quick one tonight, guys. I know everybody's still busy with family and resting up from the Christmas holiday and going into the New Year's holiday, and so I know that everybody's minds are here, there, and everywhere, but I just wanted to spend a little bit of time with you on this Tuesday night. It's been a few days since I did a video to say let's keep moving forward, and let's be resolved to meet the difficult situations with determination and perseverance. We can make it. We can look well to the ways of our household, and we can love one another. Until next time, guys, this is Josie. I love you. I really do. We're gone.